How are you, my internet family, and welcome back for another video featuring my little sister, Jessie B.
Hello!
Our last video together was about what counts as cheating, and a lot of you guys left really insightful comments. One thing that came up in the video very briefly was polyamory and open relationships, and from your comments it was very apparent that cheating also happens very regularly in open relationships and polyamorous relationships, which I do have quite a lot of experience with. And I got talking to Jessie and she has no experience with this, nor does she ever want to have experience with this.
So I would definitely be monogamous. Like, I wouldn't have any interest in polyamory.
Yeah, and I find this quite interesting because Jessie is 20 and I'm 29, so there's quite a big age gap, and you may see an awful lot of articles and just blog posts and your man at work, your woman on the bus, everyone's talking about, you know, polyamory and like it's the new more sophisticated way to live. But we're gonna go into it a little bit. Jessie doesn't know much about it, so this is gonna be quite an interesting chat. So if you enjoy this video, please thumbs it up down below and let us know what other kinds of topics you'd like to see us chat about from like a
Generation apart.
that thing. Do you watch Louis Theroux?
Yes, I love Louis.
He recently released a documentary called Love Without Limits, and that was exploring polyamory as well.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's really good. My boyfriend and I watched it.
Who's in which bed tonight?
I think you're upstairs and it's our turn to be down.
Cool. Sweet. That means I'm already in bed.
Hey, baby.
What do you say to the person that you love most in the world when they say they have feelings for someone else? It's an adjustment. It was fearful. It was anxiety producing.
I'd come to see polyamory as a way of doing love that in promising fulfillment brings with it inevitable complications.
It taught me quite a lot, but just before we dive into this video, I want you to read out a general definition of polyamory for our friends who might not be up to date.
So polyamory means the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner, with the consent of all partners involved. It has been described as consensual, ethical and responsible non-monogamy.
So think of non-monogamy as an umbrella term, and polyamory is when you can't help but feel love for more than one person. You have the capacity to be in very deep, genuine, romantic love with more than one person. An open relationship can take many forms, but it's usually like if you're in a committed relationship with one person, but you might have a little window open, or it can go as far as that both of you are allowed to go and have other side relationships, but you kind of are still a pair, you know?
Yeah, you are like the main couple.
Okay.
And
there's lots of different versions of that. Lots of couples will decide their own rules for an open relationship, but I'm just curious, what percentage of people would you kind of reckon are okay with their partner sleeping with, having feelings for other people while they're together?
Okay, I'd say it's very low.
Really?
I don't know why. Just because, I just would say it's very low. Like, I'd say it's probably like 15-20%.
It's actually less. It's 5% apparently.
What?
5%, yeah.
5?
That's what research shows. So I know, like, when I was single, I thought it was a lot more common than it actually was. But this is the thing. A lot more people cheat than are in open relationships. Yeah. So I think it would be better if people could kind of just say, I want to be in a non-monogamous arrangement with you, rather than be with someone and then cheat on them.
But you know what I feel like a lot of people's problem is when they cheat? I feel like they don't want their partner to be with other people, but they think it's like double standards. They think it's okay for them, but they would never be happy with their other partner doing the same thing.
I know so many people who have this double standard. Like, it's shocking bad. So I do think it's something that's worth discussing, and it's worth people knowing their options. Your options aren't be in a terrible monogamous relationship or be in open relationships. I think that's where I kind of fell into all of my experiences with this, because I kind of came out of, I'd had 2 back-to-back relationships that just, now it was at a time of my life that I was really, really open to kind of meeting new people and having lots of new experiences. I wasn't ready for a commitment. I just wasn't. But I think I was quite influenced by the people I was spending a lot of time around, and also the circles that I was involving myself with on the internet.
But your friend group and the people you do involve yourself with have such a huge influence on you.
Oh yeah.
Your decisions and, like, you know what I mean, the kind of path you end up falling.
Go down, So you'd be quite traditional, you know, because you come from a small little town in Ireland.
Oh, I'd be very traditional. Yeah, like I would definitely not have any interest in
And I am as well. So this is what I discovered. Like I consider myself monogamous, though I have the capacity to find lots of people attractive, but I think that's very normal.
But I also would be like attracted to multiple people at the same time. Yeah. But I think that's very different than being polyamorous.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I realised. I can't actually say you start here, you meet someone who you quite like, and this is like where you're committed and you really, really deeply love them. They're your family, you would do anything for this person and they mean so much to you and stuff like that. I could only get to about here with someone if I knew that both of us were able to do whatever else we wanted. But I think also massively for me it was a self-defense mechanism because I didn't want to get hurt again. And I'm not saying everyone is like this because they're definitely not. A huge part of polyamory, I'd love to know your opinion on this, is a feeling of compersion. Do you know what compersion means? What do you think it might mean?
Explain yourself.
You know that feeling when you feel joy and happiness for someone else when they're really happy?
Yes.
So say you say a little kid and he gets a present off Santa and he's really, really happy. You know that feeling?
And yeah.
Imagine having that feeling for your romantic partner. So think about the most in love you've ever been.
Yeah.
Imagine feeling a huge wave of pleasure and happiness when they're in love with someone else.
Okay, right, yeah. Okay, I understand.
Have you ever experienced that?
I can just about do having feelings for one person, let alone having feelings for multiple people at the same time. Like,
there's a lot of pros and cons of monogamy and polyamory and open relationships and everything, but just so you know, compersion, that is something I feel like is a prerequisite to being capable. Where are you going with your water? Fucking Swiggy McGee over here.
I have to go down. All this talk of compersion. It's giving me the sweats.
Compersion is quite contrasted with jealousy. I think people can experience compersion and jealousy at the same time. So a bit of backstory. I went through a couple of years where I was single, and during that time I dated multiple people at the same time with the consent of everyone. Like, they all knew that I was dating other people and sleeping with other people at the same time. And there was a couple I was involved with, and there was lots of kind of little setups like this, and at the time suited me down to the ground. Could you do something like that?
No, I couldn't. It's just I think I'd explode. Like, I don't think I could physically juggle them all and like giving, because like the way I am as a person, I'm very all or nothing with somebody. So I
am as well. That's what I found though. I was kind of giving them all a little bit.
I'd struggle doing that, like, because I'd feel like I'd be giving them just, you know what I mean,
a meth version of yourself.
And like I just feel like as well I'd really struggle sleeping with multiple people at the same time, but solely because I catch the feels. So like, especially with girls, like, it's been scientifically proven that when we have sex, that, you know, there's certain chemicals that are released into our brain that make us fall in love and like get feelings.
It makes you more attached. A couple of times I did catch strong feelings, didn't quite make it to the love, but I was kind of falling in love, and the whole me wanting an open relationship really put these people off. Like, it kind of ruined something before it began. But at the same time, I wasn't able to give my full self at the time. So I think it was quite important, and I think it's not necessarily polyamory, because I think you can't choose to be polyamorous. You either are or you aren't. But living quite openly in that way while you're single and you're dating and stuff, I think it's better than just like stringing people along or just cheating on people. When you're in that space where you're not fully ready for something, I actually think kind of, I don't know, I don't even know what you would call it, just being non-monogamous.
As somebody who's been cheated on before, like, I would have much rather than people be like, I want an open relationship, not go behind my back and cheat on me multiple times, even though I forgave that person. So I do think it's so much better doing that than cheating on someone or stringing them along.
Quite a lot of couples will open their relationship a little bit, like later in their marriage or something like that, just a little bit,
mix things up, and
if they've gotten to a point where they're extremely secure with each other, then they don't feel as intimidating. It's actually quite exciting, say, like, if they are on a holiday and they're just like flirting with someone, maybe just that, or maybe they'll go and get a lap dance together. Like, little things like that are ways to open your relationship without fully like letting someone move into the bed. Like, do you know this, Jessica?
What, Melanie?
Sex is more accessible than it's ever been, but according to Pew Research, we're having less sex than any generation since our grandparents, and yet 8 out of 10 millennials believe true romance is important.
Bullshit.
No, seriously.
I would have said we're having more sex than any other generation.
No. Why do you think that might be?
Because
people aren't as willing to commit to relationships. I feel like I always have way more sex when I'm in a relationship.
That is true. Yeah, you do have more sex when you're in a relationship. But
when I was at one point seeing about 7 people for about 8 months. These 7 people, and during that time, I was having way less sex than when I was with one person.
Yeah.
So it's just something to think about. I think people have this notion that like, oh well, if I can just date multiple people at the same time, I'll be having loads more sex. But it's just the logistics. There's lots of factors, like we're staying at home longer, so we're living with our families. We can't really
be bringing,
it's not as easy to I'm having that problem right now because like my partner and I are both saving up to like buy a house because it's so expensive nowadays.
Maybe it's the case of, I feel like our generation is probably sleeping with more people, but not sleeping with them people as often if they're single. Do you know what I mean? Because STDs are definitely more rampant now than they were like so many years ago.
It's more of a concern,
yeah.
People are more educated about it.
So I think people are sleeping with more different people, but not sleeping with them people very often.
Yeah.
But I do agree that if you're in a relationship, you're definitely having more sex. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like I have definitely had more sex being in a relationship than not. But I also kind of rather be with one person.
I guarantee there's going to be 12-year-olds in the comments of this video snubbing their noses at monogamy because they just think it's really like old-fashioned or something like that. But there are plenty of species of animals that are monogamous. Swans are, bald eagles,
penguins.
There's lots of, no, I don't think penguins, but
they find a mate and they stay with the mate.
I don't know but I know there's a lot of birds and there's a lot of rodents.
Wolves are also monogamous.
Wolves are, yeah. And science thinks that there is a lot of reasons why humans slowly became a more monogamous species, because I think in history we absolutely were not, but there's a lot of advantages. It's very advantageous to be monogamous, just in terms of like your well-being, your health, child rearing, all that kind of stuff. There was a lot of reasons why it benefited our species to be monogamous. Polyamory is so interesting. Like Louis Theroux showed in the documentary that you can be in a poly relationship even if you're not poly yourself. So say if you're married to a woman and 10 years later she tells you she has feelings for some other man, but you guys don't want to break up, and then she starts a relationship with this other man while she continues her relationship with you. Yeah. So you're in a polyamorous setup kind of,
but you're not poly.
You're still monogamous, and that seems to happen more regularly nowadays, because I think people are realising they don't have to throw away everything that they have with someone just because maybe they don't fulfill everything for this person and they might want to seek a part of it, maybe like a physical sexual thing somewhere else.
But they still love this person, like.
Yeah, and I think that is quite nice, you know what I mean? But a lot of people just don't
I feel like
see it that way and wouldn't be able for that.
I feel like the main thing is just always being open with each other, like, you know what I mean? Like being, like if that ever is the case that you just talk about it to your partner, as we say, instead of just going behind their back type way.
Yeah. Polyamory sounds like it makes so much sense, and it's in principle it's so convincing. But before we go more into that, what do you think are some really good benefits of monogamy?
Okay, well, I'd say like just stability.
Yeah.
First of all, and like as you say, like when you have children, like, you know what I mean, like having that support like with a family. Yeah. I'd say like, I don't know, just like that one. I know when you are poly, like you probably have this with multiple people, but I feel like in monogamy, like just like having that one person that really, really solidly has your back, you know what I mean? And like is a kind of just
a
team, like a proper team, and you know that no matter what shit hits the fan, that they're going to be there for you, you know what I mean? And you can really lean on them in times of like hardship. And I know I also feel like when you're monogamous, like you kind of deeply connect, like on a level, you know what I mean? As you say, when you're poly, you're probably giving little bits to, you can never give your whole self to just say 5 people.
Yeah, like I really did try it, and I thought I was having feelings that were kind of loving, but it wasn't the same. It was so different. Yeah, that's how I've realised that I'm definitely monogamous, is because there was amazing times that I had where I was like with 2 people at once, or I was with like one certain person and we both had other partners on the side, but we would be having like a really lovely day and I would be kind of like, oh wow, like, you know, this is such a memory, and you know this and but it's so different than the complete and utter adoration and commitment and acceptance of another partner's flaws, and just kind of you interweave your life.
I feel like when I think of myself when I'm older and I'm just say married or whatever, and you know, just being able to look at them from across the room and just thinking of like the whole life we've built together and everything, you know, we've built together as a team, like you know, I don't know, I feel like there definitely is something very special about that, but again, that's just me because I am monogamous.
I'd say polyamorous people can experience that, but when I think about how hard it has been for me since I was like 16 or whatever, to find one person that like had essentially the whole package. I know no one is perfect, but finding someone who completely fits with what you want and with your life is so hard. Finding 4 people like that, it's just, and then it's kind of like, I have a very busy life, I have a lot of friends, I do a lot of work, I have a lot of hobbies. So fitting in time even with my partner,
let alone 4,
is so difficult. Yeah. And when I was dating quite a lot of people at the same time, I wouldn't see them for weeks at a time. And that was just because we all lived all over the place, and obviously none of us were committed to working around the other person's schedule at a very much anyway. Like, we make little adjustments.
You weren't that invested in each other, that's why.
So, and I know I'm more speaking about open relationships and stuff, but that's just my experience. I'm really curious to know like your experiences with that. Like, have you guys ever successfully dated 2 people at the same time where it's a really serious relationship, and you know, you'll all go back to each other's family homes together and that kind of thing? Because I just feel like it would be really hard. And also jealousy does affect people in polyamorous relationships and open relationships just as much.
But jealousy is just such a normal human emotion, you know, and everybody experiences it, so you can't just say I'm not going to get jealous, because you really don't have control over jealousy, you know what I mean?
I found like some of the benefits for me of like dating a few people at the same time and stuff, it made me face my jealousy. Like, I am quite jealous.
Same.
It made me realise what kind of jealousy I have control over, and what kind of jealousy is actually there to warn me of something and is there to protect me. And there's other types of jealousy that's very irrational. Like, and I feel like I did experience the compersion feeling a few times, but it was usually kind of more like physically, like it was like someone that I'm really into and attracted to and stuff, seeing them with another person and seeing how happy they are and seeing it also from a different angle. It was just kind of like, I had that really nice feeling, but also the jealousy was definitely there. And I don't know if I would like to live my life just trying to ignore that all the time. I feel like that's where I'd really struggle in like an open or poly relationship, because I would be quite a jealous person, and I feel like I just don't think I'd be physically able to deal with all of the emotions with so multiple people. Like, I feel like that's another thing. Like, you know, when your partner's like dealing with something, say like their granddad dies or they lose their job, everyone is always dealing with stuff. Every single person on this planet deals with stuff. None of us are special in our problems. We all have all those problems, but you're having to like be there for fully for more than one person, and it's so hard. And being there for one person and properly, you know, 100% being there is hard enough as it is. So like multiple people, you know, it is really, especially when someone's going through a really difficult time, like, you know, they're like, when like just say like a few weeks ago with me, like, and you know, really really being there for someone is very time consuming. So can you imagine if we had loads of siblings and we were all like this? Stop. I think about it a lot as in principle versus in practice. So in principle, like, polyamory just sounds like it would solve so many problems and this, that and the other, but then in practice it's kind of like the whole self-employment thing. Like, self-employment in principle just pros and cons with everything, incredible and then but when you're self-employed you realize I have to always self-motivate. I am completely in charge of whether or not stuff gets done. No one's holding me accountable. Your taxes aren't coming out of your wages automatically. You're stuck at home all the time. Your bedroom is essentially your office too, where you've also got to sleep. I think there's a lot of aspects that you'd only kind of experience if you actually went and tried it out, and it can get very messy. Of course, then if you're dating multiple people, you're having splits more regularly.
Oh yeah.
You know,
oh god.
Like there's a lot more of those real heavy conversations about, you know, feelings, and I had a couple of open relationships that it's funny, I don't even class them as real relationships because I didn't feel like I was fully there.
But essentially they were.
Yeah. But in those relationships I encountered all the same problems that I would experience just being with one person, but they were like way more often.
Yeah.
Everything was just way more mental, and I know the rewards weren't the same for me. The glorious rewards of monogamy.
I feel like as well, because the way I am as a person, like I feel things so deeply, and like, you know, if there's a heavy conversation or something, like I really sit and like really think about it, and a lot of the time overthink it, and then it can kind of like really affect me and my mood. So I physically I couldn't.
I'm looking at you just like imagining doing this.
It's exhausting even imagining it, like let alone actually doing it.
A lot of people nowadays want to sacrifice the hard work and the long-term benefits of something for that kind of quick, immediate, like dopamine hit. And you'll see this with food, for example, like how long it takes to get, you know, results from eating healthily. It's very difficult to do, and there's a McDonald's right there, you know, but then you have the McDonald's and immediately you're like, oh. Whereas when you stick to kind of eating well consistently over a long period of time, and you'll just have the odd little treat or whatever,
you get so much more fulfillment out of it.
And it's same with exercise. Like you can't see the benefits of exercise unless you stick at it for a long time. And it's the exact same with a relationship, I feel. At the end of the day, I feel like all we have to work on doing is finding what aligns with making us happy. You know what I mean?
But I also think, you know, if you do, you know, go into open and try it out, even though you do think you're monogamous, as you say, you know, at least then you'll know if it's definitely something you're not interested in, instead of it becoming to a time in the future where you might be thinking, oh, I wonder what that's like.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to try those things while you're young, and, you know, if you're free and single, there's no harm in it. But I definitely think there's a lot to be said for just being really honest with people. If you don't just want to be seeing them and you do want to be seeing other people, have that conversation.
But you also might, you know, experience it, open relationships, and find that it's for you and it's exactly what you want. It's like... that happened to so many people I know. Like they started doing it and they were just like, this is what I've always wanted. I feel so in control of my love life. I feel so kind of free and you know, independent and all. So it totally depends on who you are, what you want. We really want to know your thoughts and experiences in the comments, so please do leave down below. Let's have like an open discussion about this topic, and we're definitely going to be reading them all. I love how these videos turn into like little forums. Videos. And we also did a video over on my sister's channel, and it was quite a hilarious one. We were handcuffed for 24 hours, and it got messy. We fell out.
We had a fight. It was really funny. So I'll link that in the top of the description box. So do go down and check that out, and follow Jessie as well. She is my lovely sister. And thank you for being on my channel.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see the friends again soon.
Yes, we'll see you very soon, and I hope you enjoyed.
Day.
Bye.